Good afternoon, everyone. You knew it was coming. Should working from home be taxed? They're worried about the infrastructure already built with the ROI to pay off for cities not being fulfilled. Oh, but wait, the bait and switch further in the article. Give grants for the money they tax from you, so maybe not all that it seems. Demands now for a climate tax on food producers by 2025. Red meat consumption needs to be cut by half in the food system globally. Yeah, we're supposed to believe that, just like we're supposed to believe all these buildings in the landscape here of Liverpool and England were built in the same time era. In this day and age, it's so important to keep your body functioning at optimal performance. And collagen may be the closest thing we get to a real fountain of youth. After all, collagen is the most abundant protein in your body and essentially the glue that holds it all together. When you're middle-aged, you're only producing half of the collagen that you did in your youth. My focus is about digestive health because the change in our diets from foods being unavailable, moving to seasonal availability of foods, and the entire spectrum of availability of foods changing. There's so much more to talk about with the benefits of collagen. You can visit healthwithadapt2030.com to learn more. The link's in the description box below. And you knew it was going to be too good to be true, where you didn't have to travel to work, spend all that money on gas, food at work, and you were saving so much money working from home. Suddenly the conversation starts, should working from home be taxed? See, the crux of the article, at least in the beginning, is about, they say you're shirking your responsibility to pay cities back for the infrastructure they put in place, such as toll booths, that the city put upfront costs to charge you to cross bridges. But you're supposed to pay for that, and because you're not going and using that, somehow your responsibility to society, the contract has been broken from your side. Already built infrastructure, they were expecting you to pay for it. And they even put some instances here of serious financial distress with huge swaths of downtown office space sitting empty, along with the computer networks and utility hookups. Wait a second, computer, that's all private company. Utility hookup, maybe to the building, not your problem. That's your company who owns the building, not you. And I love how they try to convince you that only $10 a day of your hard-earned savings and wages should go to this program for cities for their infrastructure. Just 5% of your wages at $55,000 a year is just $10 a day, times 365 is $3,650 additional tax taken out of your $55,000 because you're working from home. It was not your choice. It was forced upon you. But now, as always, taxes, taxes, and more taxes. Now, the bait and switch in the article got really interesting here. This is classic doublespeak, because what I showed you so far was all about infrastructure from cities and the ROI and all these things about cities and their infrastructure that was paid for. But then saying that it would raise an additional $48 billion a year by taxing everybody working at home. It should be used for a very specific purpose. Give grants of $1,500 each to 29 million workers not employed right now, earning less than $30,000 a year. Okay, I'm shaking my head. What happened to the infrastructure for the city that the whole article was predicated on? See what I mean? Bait and switch. It moved from infrastructure responsibility to handout responsibility. And that's not a very big gap from $30,000 to $55,000. I mean, they're squeaking a red line right here. Also, to add into the layer cake of bizarreness, climate tax on food producers by 2025. I mean, do they not already have enough taxes and additional licenses and fees that they need to uphold well above the rest of manufacturing in society because there are food producers? They're already being held over a barrel with all the licenses they need and the fees yearly and the inspections, and all that costs money. Now they want to propose a climate tax on food. This is coming out of the UK. And to start right on cue, demand a tax on meat. And what they say is, you and I everybody in the world has to cut their red meat consumption in half to stay within environmental limits. Wait, who arbitrarily set that limit, by the way? And how does meat fit into this? What about the massive pollution coming out from industry and government itself? Yet again, the culpability is on the regular citizen who doesn't own mega mines, doesn't own vast fleets of aircraft, doesn't own oil refineries. Do you have any friends that own an oil refinery? I don't. Yet the responsibility is yours. And I love how this another doublespeak that's fitting into the whole narrative here of this 19 thing. I'm going to read it to you and try not to laugh at the end. Clear evidence that replacing animal proteins with plant proteins will lower, highlighted in blue, overall death rates. Now, wait a second. Everybody that's been born on this planet dies. So how is this even a thing in the article? See this doublespeak here. This sell you one thing in the beginning of the article, but try to flip your mind into something totally different at the end. You notice the writing style in both of these that I've put forth? Start to notice it yourself when you peruse through the articles. In the beginning, it makes logical sense, but at the end, they get some fallacy, utopian dream that they try to shove in there. Hopefully, your subconscious will remember the last thing you read. And the graphic from the PDF associated with this study in the UK here, breakdown of food systems and food as a percentage of greenhouse gases. Now, overall on the left, the food system itself, just about a quarter of everything produced on the planet is associated with some sort of greenhouse gas. Now that should be untouched. You know, we can do away with industries and airline flights and what we've seen disappear already. Why do they need now to go after the food? Because so much has been cut already. That should have already made up well for the food. We should be even at 50% for the food systems now because so much has been cut out of the entire global economy that runs on any kind of fuel. So wait a second. Is this really about a food tax to limit that, or is this about a food tax for more control? How dare you have extra money from working at home? Nope, we're going to still scrape you for as much as we can. And if you break down the food system by the emissions itself, we got livestock, crops for human consumption, and then the supply chain. I think they're missing a key ingredient there is where's all that corn grown for ethanol that's put in mandates to just make an industry out of nothing when we don't need it? Degrade your engines. What happened to that 100% gasoline that we used to have before all the ethanol mandates back in 2006 and 7? That's not in there. Oh, but wait a second, you're to blame. You eat every day. No, couldn't be the giant ships running across the ocean. No, couldn't be the massive fleet of semi-tractor trailers traversing our planet's roads. Nope, it's you because you eat. Blame game again. So the shift that they've been trying to push, this cricket protein and all this alternative meat, lab-grown meats, etc., it's been going on for several years, but now we can see, what do we see here? Oh, Beyond Meat collapses after missing revenue forecast. That big red drop line at the end there, that means we say no to lab-grown meats. Thanks for playing. And right on cue, boom, the new graphics out here. Beyond Burger or Beef Burger. Look at the beautiful comparison. 99% less water, 93% less land, 90% fewer gas emissions that are only 0.04% anyway of the entire atmosphere, and 46% less electricity. Oh, but wait, they still want to tax you because it's going through the transportation system. That same transportation system, by the way, that was ripped up across America that used to be rail. You were forced to drive a car. We were forced to go to trucks. And now, somehow you're the problem because of the system that was perfectly fine for public transportation, like we see much in Asia and Europe, but nope, had to be ripped out in the United States, but you got to pay for it. So they want to make you believe that everybody loves this Beyond Burger, but I think they don't. And see, now there's a full-on onslaught across the media, corporate controlled, of course, that taxes from working home, you got to do your responsibility. Taxes for eating, well, you got to tax for no reason. Everybody loves lab-grown meats and cricket proteins. You can see where we're going with the whole barrage of this, getting you to believe something that's, well, stretchable at best. Just like these images here from 1937 out of Liverpool from the air. Now, we're supposed to believe that all these buildings were built at the same time era. And I say, do you see anything that kind of sticks out there that just doesn't fit? These were all supposedly built in the exact same time era. But some just look a little bit different than the others. and also doing some research on Liverpool for these strange buildings. Some out of place history that I know I never saw. 1841. Where do you think this is? Liverpool. See anything out of place there either? Doesn't make sense for our historical timelines. And those trolley tracks right there, that's what used to be all across the United States that was removed to force you to automobiles, to now force you into extra taxes on extra taxes on extra taxes, to eat and to work from home. Perhaps we need to start asking more questions about our history and about this tax base. If they can print unlimited money to fund corporations going bankrupt, unlimited, then why do we still need to pay taxes if the Fed can print into infinitum? That should be the very next question. Not if it's 5% on the work from home tax, but why can't the Fed continue to print infinitum? Why do we need to pay tax? Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Seems that reality is actually a mirage. But whatever way you look at it, you're going to have to think about storing up some food for you and your families as we transition through these next interesting times over 2021 and 22. My Patriot Supply and Adapt 2030, the 2-week or the 4-week emergency food supply. There's some days you're probably just not going to want to go to the supermarket, or weeks, as the stranglehold on store entry continues. Let me know what you think about working from home taxes in the description box below, and I'll see you next video.